Hey everybody, hope this finds you doing well. This week we're going to talk about Bitcoin and the expanding economy and how it's infiltrating traditional finance. As you can see here, here's a list of some of the Bitcoin ETFs that are currently on the market. As we mentioned in our last video, Morgan Stanley, which is the first traditional bank to have its own Bitcoin ETF and had a great first day and is trading fairly well considering the bear market that we're currently in. And they join the likes of BlackRock, which is the largest asset manager in the world, managing over $14 trillion. They have the top Bitcoin ETF, their IBIT ETF. Fidelity, another asset manager that holds over $6 to $7 trillion of client assets. They have their own Bitcoin ETF. Grayscale is a digital native crypto investment platform. You have ARK, they have their Bitcoin ETF. Bitwise is also another crypto native investment arm. But we're seeing that through these Bitcoin ETFs, it basically broke records in its first year in terms of how much money flowed into these ETFs in their first year. And we're still seeing it do very well, even considering the volatility of Bitcoin. We're seeing that the demand is coming into the space and it's allowing a lot of sovereign nations, it's a lot of sovereign wealth funds, it's allowing institutions, pension funds, when normally they wouldn't be able to necessarily purchase Bitcoin outright by itself, but they can buy assets that are being traded on the public markets. And with the ETFs now trading on the public markets, this is giving them access through a Bitcoin wrapper. So the ETFs now is Bitcoin wrapped, now being traded on the public market. Also, Bitcoin futures, which was actually available before the Bitcoin ETFs. This is another very popular derivative that people use to trade. It's very popular in the equity market, and now it's become very popular with Bitcoin as well. You have Bitcoin futures. You can trade regarding what the future price of Bitcoin could be, whether it be positive or negative. You can trade either way. And so these are another one of the many different types of ways that Bitcoin is now being able to be traded using the public markets. Also with these ETFs, you can do options through these Bitcoin ETFs. So that's another derivative that is available to people who are interested in having exposure to the volatility of Bitcoin or just Bitcoin, just generally speaking. Also, another way to get access to Bitcoin indirectly using the public markets are through the Bitcoin treasury companies. As you can see here, this is a list of several of the companies that hold Bitcoin on the balance sheet. Of course, Strategy is the largest Bitcoin holder of them all, nearing 1 million Bitcoin. We believe that now at this point they'll probably get there. It's just a matter of time and when they will actually do it. But you see there are companies, not only Bitcoin miners like Mara, for example, and Hut 8, but you also have Tesla, which is a top 12 holder. SpaceX also has Bitcoin on the balance sheet. And you have a bunch of different types of companies. You have Figma, which is an AI type company holding Bitcoin. So there's a lot of different types of companies that are now joining the fray in terms of publicly traded companies that are adding Bitcoin to the balance sheet. GameStop is another company that recently added Bitcoin to the balance sheet last year. So we're starting to see more and more companies being added to this list. This is just the top 100, but there's several more companies that are owning Bitcoin, and you can see currently they have 1.1 Bitcoin on the balance sheet. As we mentioned, there are a bunch of different institutions that are getting involved in Bitcoin. Vanguard recently decided that they are now going to be offering crypto ETFs, and they decided to join all the other major institutions and investment companies and arms that have decided to jump into Bitcoin and into cryptocurrency. So you can see here that Vanguard's founder, Jack Bogle, initially despised crypto ETFs, and he thought that they were speculative instruments that produce no cash flow. He said, avoid Bitcoin like the plague. That's why Vanguard's announcement just this past December was a bit of a surprise because of how things have really begun to change now that this particular founder is no longer head and CEO of Vanguard. They have now decided and chose to move from the old guard to the new guard and decided to jump into the cryptocurrency space. So you can see they will now be offering the BlackRock ETF amongst some of the others as well for their clients to be able to trade. Goldman Sachs, another major investment bank in the United States, they disclosed over $1 billion worth of Bitcoin ETF holdings. So it's just another major institution, another example of so-called smart money that is coming into the Bitcoin space. So even though Bitcoin is currently in a bear market, basically the cryptocurrency market in general is in a bear market, we are still seeing that demand is still coming into the space, and we're seeing that the demand are not only people like me and you, so-called retail investors. We're seeing the large investors coming into this space and deciding to take advantage of the volatility of Bitcoin. We have Charles Schwab, another major brokerage, and they will be offering crypto trading, spot crypto trading, not just the ETFs, but be able to actually buy and sell crypto on their platform sometime later on this year. And you can see this is one of their papers on their website, and they did a modern wealth survey last year, and they're trying to understand the investor base and how it's changing. And you can go to aboutschwab.com to find out a little bit more information that the younger generations have a bit more of an affinity towards investing into cryptocurrency and are more likely to buy the ETFs this year in 2026. Also, the reasoning behind them owning cryptocurrency, they believe that it has a strong long-term potential. Over 53% of those surveys believe this. Others believe that it would be a good idea to diversify their investment portfolio. Others are interested in blockchain technology, and also others believe that it will protect against inflation and economic uncertainty, similar to other commodities like gold and silver, for example, which have also done very well, particularly over the past 8 to 9 months. Also, one of the ways that Bitcoin is infiltrating traditional finance is the ability to loan against your Bitcoin, be able to put up Bitcoin as collateral and be able to borrow fiat currencies to be able to use it in whatever way, shape, or form you choose to. And that's what a lot of people, particularly in the top 1%, tend to do. They own assets and then borrow against them. Not only is it a tax advantage to be able to do so because you're borrowing, you don't have to pay taxes on borrowing money, but also it's a way that they're able to keep their home in collateral as long as they make payments towards their loan, and at some point eventually take care of their loan over the long run, whatever those terms may be. So you can see that some of the top crypto loan platforms in the US in 2026 include Ledin. Of course, this is not an endorsement. This is just showing you some of the different platforms that are allowing consumers to be able to loan against their Bitcoin. Aave, another decentralized platform. Salt is also another decentralized platform. You have Unchained. You have Coinbase, which is the largest U.S. cryptocurrency exchange. They allow for Bitcoin loans. Compound, Alchemist, Strike. So there's a lot of different opportunities and options to be able to look into borrowing fiat currency and using Bitcoin as the collateral, which is also known as a crypto-backed loan. Another major news story that recently came out over the past couple of months is now Better, which is a mortgage lending platform. They are partnering with Coinbase to allow people to use crypto as collateral for the down payment of a home. So this will allow the opportunity to use your Bitcoin to help pay for the down payment on a home. So you can pledge crypto instead of cash down payment, keep your position, maintain upside potential, because obviously people believe over time that Bitcoin will continue to grow in value, and so most folks do not want to sell their crypto. So similar to other types of assets that people use to back particular loans, for example, a home equity loan, people use homes as the asset that they choose to use as collateral for a loan. Now you can do that with Bitcoin. right now they're starting off with being able to use your crypto instead of a cash down payment. So you would be able to use Bitcoin as that collateral to be able to get a loan on a down payment. But we have to be aware of the terms and conditions when it comes to this new product, because it's just for the down payment. So you still would have another mortgage or another loan that would go towards the main mortgage for the house. So this is just in relation to the down payment, but this is obviously just the beginning. This is something that's going to continue to expand over time, so we'll definitely keep you posted as we learn more about this product. But once again, it just gives another opportunity to be able to provide optionality with your Bitcoin holdings. Also, of course, you can spend Bitcoin. You can spend it on in various different ways. If you want to spend your Bitcoin, once again, if you want to spend your Bitcoin, Steak and Shake, for example, is allowing people to pay for burgers and fries with Bitcoin, and they have established a Bitcoin reserve. So they accept Bitcoin, a portion of it they transfer right away to USD, a small portion of it they put into their Bitcoin reserve, and now they're going to start paying employees an hourly Bitcoin bonus of 0.21 cents. So that's pretty amazing. So those folks who work at Bitcoin, work at Steak and Shake, their employees have an opportunity to collect Bitcoin just from working with Steak and Shake. Also, Cash App, for example, you can do direct deposit of your check and allocate a certain amount that can allow you to be paid in Bitcoin. So this is a great way to be able to be paid in Bitcoin. You can do anywhere from 1% to 100% of your entire check. If you want that to be transitioned into Bitcoin, Cash App can easily do that for you. And so here are some of the directions and information with regards to how to get paid in Bitcoin using Cash App. So there's just so many different ways that Bitcoin is being used and will continue to grow as we learn more and more about the different types of options that we'll have for using Bitcoin. Read the tea leaves. We're seeing that Bitcoin is going to continue to expand. We continue to see the demand that's coming into the space. So we're going to continue to keep you posted. We really appreciate you checking us out here at Networkchain. We hope you have a great start to your week. We look forward to linking up with you soon on the Networkchain. Take care. Bye-bye.